Hello, dear students. Now, let us do the third part of your geography, chapter number 3. The name of the topic is Mineral and Power Resources. Boys, in our previous part of the chapter, we have done about the distribution of minerals which are found in different parts of different continents. We have learned. Apart from that, we have learned about the uses of minerals. Then why should we conserve minerals? Conservation of minerals, power resources. So now let us continue the chapter. Conventional sources. First of all, let us see what are conventional sources. Conventional sources of energy are those which have been in common use for a long time. These are those resources of energy which have been in common use for a long time. Firewood and fossil fuels are the two main conventional energy sources. Firewood, which we use for say cooking purposes, especially that means in the rural areas for burning fire, and fossil fuels. Fossil fuels means fuels formed by natural processes. These are the two main conventional energy sources. Just underline this, which are the two main conventional energy resources. You have to answer firewood and fossil fuels. Now, let us discuss about firewood. It is widely used for cooking and heating. So, firewood, wood which we use for burning fire, it is in a wide way, it is used for cooking and heating. In our country, more than 50% of the energy used by villagers comes from firewood. So this one I have already told you, boy. In our India, more than 50% of the energy it is used by villagers, those people who are living in the villages, comes from firewood. So energy they are using, and that energy is to get from firewood. Remains of plants and animals which were buried under the earth for millions of years got converted by the heat and pressure into fossil fuels. Boys, you must know how our fossil fuels form. So, remains of plants and animals which were buried under the earth inside the mud for millions of years, they converted by the heat and pressure into fossil fuels. So, fossil fuel such as coal, petroleum, and natural gas are the main source of conventional energy. So, In the fossil fuels we find such as coal, petroleum and natural gas. These are main source of conventional energy and these are very helpful for our day-to-day life. The reserves of these minerals are limited. So reserves of these fossil fuels these are limited. The rate at which the growing world population is consuming them is far greater than the rate of their formation. See, whatever amount of that means these fossil fuels they are forming inside the earth. So to compare with that, the rate at which the growing world population is consuming them is far greater. So these are likely to be exhausted soon. So exhausting means completely used, means it will finish, boys. So as the rate of growing population is consuming them in a huge quantity, it is far greater than the rate of their formation. So there is the possibility to be completely used these fossil fuels in near future. That's why, boys, conservation of these fossil fuels it is very much necessary. Now let us see coal. This is the most abundantly found fossil fuel. Among the fossil fuels, this one, the coal is the most abundantly means plentifully found fossil fuels. So mark this one also, which is the most abundantly found fossil fuels. You have to say coal. It is used as a domestic fuel in industries such as iron and steel, steam engines, and to generate electricity. So this coal it is used as domestic fuel. Here in our Manipur also charcoal we are using, boys, to get warm. So in industries such as iron and steel, steam engines and to generate electricity, these coals are used. Electricity from coal is called thermal power. Okay, boys, see here. What is thermal power? You have to know this one. Electricity from coal is called thermal power. The coal which we are using today was formed millions of years ago when giant ferns and swamps got buried under the layers of the earth. So these coals, you see the coal which we are using at present days, it was formed millions of years ago when giant ferns and swamps it was that is buried under the layer of the earth. Coal is therefore referred to as buried sunshine, and that is why coal is known as buried sunshine. Sometimes in your higher classes, most probably, boys, I think in class 10 you will get this coal is called diamond, black diamond. It is named as black diamond also. So here in this book it said buried sunshine. Its importance it point out here. The leading coal producers of the world are China, USA, Germany, Russia, South Africa, and France. So, see, these are the leading coal producers of the world. The coal producing areas of India are Raniganj, Jharia, Dhanbad, and Bokaro in Jharkhand. So you must know this. This Bokaro steel plant of Jharkhand, it is the largest steel plant in our country. Now let us see petroleum. The petrol that keeps your car running, as well as the oil that keeps your cycle from squeaking. I mean, from squeaking. Okay. So the petrol that keeps your car running is with the help of petrol boys. Car is to ply on the road. So that's why it says petrol that keeps your car running, as well as the oil that keeps your cycle from squeaking. Squeaking means making a high pitched sound. Both began as a thick black liquid called petroleum. Both it started as a thick black liquid called petroleum. It is found between the layers of rocks and is drilled from oil fields located in offshore and coastal areas. So it is found between the layers of rocks and is drilled from oil fields located in offshore and coastal areas. So you will find this offshore, about offshore, that means our India, Mumbai, high like that. And by the way, at the coastal areas, these oil fields are located. This is then sent to refineries, which process the crude oil and produce a variety of products like diesel, petrol, kerosene, wax, plastics, and lubricants. So, as soon as uh, uh, it has dug out, so this petroleum, it is used to send to refineries. Their finished product has to met for refining it, which process the crude oil. As soon as it has dug out, it becomes, that means, crude oil, and produce a variety of products such as diesel, petrol, kerosene, wax, plastics, and lubricants. So these are the products of petroleum, boys. This one also marked here. Can be asked, that means name any two products of petroleum. Name any two or four. So you have to know this. Petroleum and its derivatives are called black gold, as they are very valuable. So petroleum and its derivatives is here means something which is based on another source and its allied products, I have to say, are called black gold. Here petroleum is known as black gold here, boys. The chief petroleum producing countries are Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar. So these are the chief petroleum producing countries in the world. The other major producers are USA, Russia, Venezuela, and Algeria. The leading producers in India are Digboy in Assam, Bombay High in Mumbai, and the deltas of Krishna and Godavari rivers. Boys, Bombay High, it is, that means, in Mumbai. So it is the richest oil field of our country. Okay, in your higher classes, again in class 10, you will learn that again using Sagar Samrat, how that means that crude oil used to be extracted from that very well field. So let us see towards the right side, right margin of your book, word origin. The word petroleum is derived from Latin words. It is a Latin word, boy. Petra meaning rock, since it is found in between rocks. So petra meaning rock, and oleum meaning oil. Meaning of oleum is oil. So petroleum means rock oil. That's why petroleum, it means rock oil. So it is found in the deltas of Krishna and Godavari rivers also. This is about petroleum. Now let us proceed to natural gas. Natural gas is found with petroleum deposits and is released when crude oil is brought to the surface. So natural gas, it is found with petroleum, which is deposits and is set free. Release means set free when crude oil means unrefined petroleum, okay, is brought to the surface at the time it is found. It can be used as a domestic and industrial fuel. So in our domestic purposes, and by the way, in the industries, it can be used as fuel. Russia, Norway, UK, and the Netherlands are the major producers of natural gas. So, Russia, Norway, UK, and Netherlands, these are the major producers of natural gas. In India, Jaisalmer, Krishna, Godavari Delta, Tripura, and some areas offshore in Mumbai have natural gas resources. So there, that means you see in our country, Jaisalmer, Krishna, Godavari Delta, Tripura, and some areas offshore in Mumbai, they have these natural gas resources. Very few countries in the world have sufficient natural gas reserves of their own. So, very few countries are there in the world which have their self-sufficient in natural gas of their own. The sharp increase in our consumption of fossil fuels has led to their depletion. So, at an alarming rate. So, the sharp increase in our consumption means is the uses of this, it is increasing very much. So, it says here the sharp increase in our consumption of fossil fuels has led to their depletion. So, depletion means reduction in the quantity at an alarming rate. Okay, here alarming means it in a very speed rate. It is finishing. The toxic pollutants released from burning these fuels are also a cause for concern. So the toxic means poisonous. Pollutants, pollutants, that means contaminants released from burning these fuels are also a cause for concern. Unchecked burning of fossil fuel is like an unchecked dripping tap. which will eventually run dry. So, unchecked burning of fossil fuels. It is also, see here, is like an unchecked dripping tap which will eventually run dry. It will dry. This has led to the tapping of various non-conventional sources of energy that are cleaner alternatives to fossil fuels. So it has led to the tapping of various non-conventional sources of energy that are cleaner alternatives to fossil fuels. Now have a look. Do you know this one? Towards the right side of your book. Do you know compressed natural gas CNG is a popular eco-friendly automobile fuel as it causes less pollution than petroleum and diesel. So boys, sometimes it used to ask what is CNG? So you have to answer it like this, okay? The full form of CNG is compressed natural gas and it is a popular eco-friendly automobile fuel as it causes less pollution than petroleum and diesel. You must know it. This is also very important. The perceptive of your exam. So now let us see hydropower. Hydropower, power which is generated from water. Power which is generated from water is called hydropower. Rainwater or river water stored in dams is made to fall from heights. So rainwater and river water is stored in dams is made to fall from heights, from high. Here in our Manipur also, as present days, we are getting this electricity. We get it from hydropower, boys, and we have this power project there in Loktak. So here in this type of power project, rainwater or river water stored in dams is made to fall from heights. That water carried by using turbine, that means at the high level, that means of a place, and from there the falling water flows through pipes inside the dam over turbine blades placed at the bottom of the dam. So from there you see water used to flow downwards and through pipe inside the dam over turbine blades placed at the bottom of the dam. The moving blades then turn the generator to produce electricity. So the moving blades then it turn the generator to produce electricity. This is called hydroelectricity. It is known as hydroelectricity. The water discharged after the generation of electricity is used for irrigation. So water, that means again it used to discharge after the generation of electricity and used for irrigation. Means it is utilized for our cultivation. 1/4 of the world's electricity is produced by hydropower. So 1/4 of the world's electricity is produced by this water power or hydropower. The leading producers of hydropower in the world are Paraguay, Norway, Brazil, and China. So these are the leading producers of hydropower. Some important hydropower stations in India are Bakranangal, Gandhi Sagar, Nagarjuna Sagar, and Damodar Valley projects. Even Hirakud Dam projects also was. Bakranangal projects and Hirakud projects. These are Bakranangal is the highest dam, and then Hirakud is the longest dam of our country. So these projects, they serve in our multi-purpose ways. It used to supply for irrigation as well as it used to produce electricity. So these multi-purpose projects or these projects are very important. Again, regarding this, you must know in your higher classes, class 9, 10 like that, these multi-purpose projects are known as new temple for its utilities, which will you learn in your later classes. So, boys, have a look to the left margin of your textbook of this page. Do you know Norway was the first country in the world to develop hydroelectricity? So Norway, it was the first country in the world to develop hydroelectricity. Then another one, do you know the site of the world's first solar and wind powered bus shelter is in Scotland. Solar and wind powered bus shelter is in Scotland. So that's up to here for today. Let us see in the next part, that is the fourth part of the chapter. Till then, all of you, bye bye.